Hi, everyone. Oh, it just got very quiet all of a sudden, so thank you for that. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honored members, friends, family members, and partners of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, welcome to Announcement Day. My name's Wendy Pattenden. I'm the chair of the selection committee as well. So today's the day we officially welcome the induction class of 2023. Before we begin this morning's festivities, we'd like to acknowledge that we're gathered today on the unceded, traditional, and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. Thank you. We've all been eagerly circling this moment in our calendars. We're so excited to have you with us today to welcome in a truly exceptional group of individuals, teams, and difference makers that have been so important to BC sport history. A little later this morning, we'll hear some remarks from Tom Mayenek, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Before we begin announcing the honored class of 2023, we want to pay tribute to the commitment the BC Sports Hall of Fame makes to inspiring the future through its Hero in You youth education program. Our Hero in You youth education programs work to inspire youth from all backgrounds and experiences to set and achieve meaningful personal goals while learning about BC's Olympic and Paralympic athletes and other high-performance stars. The BC Sports Hall of Fame inspires the future, and this includes telling the intricate stories of those who have come before and continue to inspire us today. I now want to introduce you to your MCs. Guiding us through today's ceremonies will be two fellow inductees. Up first, he was inducted into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in 2010. He is a three-time Paralympic gold medalist, a two-time Canadian Wheelchair Sports Association Male Athlete of the Year, and the 2008 Canadian Wheelchair Basketball Athlete of the Year. Please welcome to the stage Richard Peter.
Slowly.
Joining Richard is a member of the 1985 BC Sports Hall of Fame class. She has an Order of Canada, as well as an Order of British Columbia, considered to be one of the greatest rhythmic gymnasts Canada has ever produced. She captured Olympic gold at the 1984 Games in Los Angeles. Please welcome Lori Fung. So I'm going to turn it over to Richard and Lori to take you through the ceremonies.
Go through all the paperwork.
Yes. We have a truly exceptional group to announce, so let's get started. First is the Builder Coach category. He is one of Canada's top athletic coaches over the past 40 years, guiding some of the country's best middle distance runners, including Olympic bronze medalist Angela Chalmers, World Championships silver medalist Gary Reid, and World Championships top 10 finisher Diane Cummins. He coached Canadian athletes at 6 Olympic Games, 12 World Championships, and 6 Commonwealth Games. Was named Athletics Canada's Outstanding Coach of the Year in 2007. Please join me in congratulating Wynn Gmitroski on his selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Coach Builder category in athletics. Congratulations, and thanks for being with us today. Wynn?
Actually, come on up. You get the scarf. Come on up, and then you can join us upstage. Yeah. Congrats. Yeah. Thank you. And we move into the Builder Coach category to acknowledge a person who's with Canada's most successful university coaches in any sport. She served as UBC's women's basketball coach from 1995 to 2021, the longest tenure of any UBC women's coach in any sport in the university history. In that time, she became the all-time winningest coach in Sport Canada's West history, setting a new record with 344 victories against just 171 losses. She coached UBC to 3 Canadian National Championships and 4 Canada West Championships, and coached Canada's national women's team to a silver medal in the 1999 Pan American Games in Winnipeg. Please join me in congratulating Deb Huband on her selection for the induction of BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Coach Builder category for basketball contributions. Congrats.
We now move on to the third inductee in the category of Builder Coach. He has nearly 70 years of service, devoting most of his life to the sport of judo in various capacities and roles, including as an athlete, coach, referee, official, and administrator. He has served with Judo Canada since 1957 and Judo BC since 1958, and is still active with both to the present day. Was a judo referee at 6 Olympic Games and 22 World Championships, and helped raise nearly $100,000 to build the Steveston Martial Arts Center in 1972, the first dojo built in the traditional Japanese architectural style outside of Japan. Please join me in congratulating Jim Kojima on his selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Builder Coach category for judo.
Mention I'm standing in, I'm his son.
Oh, and standing in for Jim will be his son.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Thanks.
I was going to say, he looks very young. Better start judo. Yeah.
Since the 1950s.
And the final member of this year's Builder Coach category, she's considered one of the most influential and respected women in Canada sport, serving as president of the Canadian Paralympic Committee from 2006 to 2010. She was the first Paralympic athlete elected to the Canadian Parliament. She served as Minister of Sport and Persons with Disabilities in the federal Liberal government from 2015 to 2017. As an athlete, she represented Canada in swimming at 2 Paralympic Games, 1988 in Seoul and 92 in Barcelona, winning 3 bronze medals in various relays while swimming to 8 top 8 individual finishes. Oh, here we go. Please join me in congratulating Carla Qualtrough on her selection to the induction BC Sports Hall of Fame in pair sports. Yeah.
Oh, Carla. Now for the team that is being inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2023. As the 1971 Canadian Junior A Minto Cup champions, they were the first Western Canadian team to win the Minto Cup in 9 years. They defeated Peterborough 4-3 in a thrilling 7-game series held at New Westminster's Queen's Park Arena, with the deciding 7th game a 13-11 victory in overtime before over 5,000 spectators. Lacrosse experts consider this one of the greatest lacrosse series ever in Minto Cup history. Earlier that season, Richmond won the BC Junior A Lacrosse Championship, defeating top-ranked Burnaby Cablevision 4-3 in a thrilling 7-game series. Please join me in congratulating the 1971 Richmond Roadrunners men's team on their selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the team category in the sport of lacrosse. We'd like to call upon team member Gary Bergani to the stage today to accept this honor on behalf of the Richmond Roadrunners.
And next up, the second team that's been inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of Class 2023. They were the 2012 RBC Cup National Junior A Hockey Championships champions, defeating the Woodstock Slammers 4-3 in the final. They finished the BCHL regular season with an overwhelmingly dominant 54-4-0-2 win-loss record, setting records for most wins while setting a Canadian Junior Hockey League record for the most consecutive regular season wins with 42 straight victories. The team was so dominant, they finished with 7 of the top 9 scorers during the regular season. Please join me in congratulating the 2012 Penticton V's on the selection and induction of BC Sports Hall of Fame in the category of team sport hockey. And today we don't have anybody accept them, but yet later at the induction, there'll be somebody representative for the Penticton V's. So congratulate them, give them a hand.
On to the Pioneer category, honoring British Columbians whose contributions to development and growth of sport in BC cannot be overstated. First up, she was one of Canada's top tennis players of the 1930s whose career accomplishments would have been more impressive if not for the disruption of the World War II to her prime competitive years. She was the 1940 Canadian Open Singles Champion and 2-time Canadian Open Doubles Champion. She was ranked as Canada's #1 women's singles player in 5 different years and represented Canada at Wimbledon in 1935, playing in singles and doubles, and made headlines around the world for being the first ever women's player to wear shorts in her matches, something never before done at Wimbledon, where women previous only wore skirts that were knee-length or longer. Please join me in congratulating Eleanor Young Stonehouse on her selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Pioneer category in the sport of tennis. Eleanor's son, Jim Stonehouse, is with us today to receive her scarf.
And the second inductee in the Pioneer category radically changed surgery for athletes. He is considered a world leader in developing and improving arthroscopic surgical techniques on athletes, particularly for knee injuries, making them less invasive and cutting recovery time in half. He treated athletes from all over the world, including those from CFL, NHL, NBA, PGA, and English Premier League. He served as the medical officer for many provincial, national, and international sport teams, and including the Canadian Olympic team and Canadian Davis Cup and Billie Jean Cup teams. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Brian Day on his selection for induction to BC Sports Hall of Fame in sports medicine.
On to the media category. This year's inductee is a highly respected member of Vancouver's sports media during a 40-year career in which he pioneered modern sports talk radio in BC as a host of his nightly sports talk show. For many years, he served as the play-by-play broadcaster for the Vancouver Giants and WHL games on Shaw TV, the CHL on Sportsnet, the Seattle Thunderbirds on radio, and the BC High School Basketball Championships. He also did play-by-play on Vancouver Canucks pay-per-view broadcasts. hosted Canucks broadcasts on CKNW, and wrote for the Vancouver Sun. Please join me in congratulating Dan Russell for his selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the media category.
And let's go on. And now for the W.A.C. Bennett Award, a special category of distinction for British Columbians who have made remarkable contributions for the sport community in a way that is forever recognized by the BC Sports Hall of Fame. This year's winners are the longtime co-owners of the Vancouver Canadians, both saving and elevating professional baseball in Vancouver. The duo refurbished Nat Bailey Stadium to the point where many consider it among the best minor league ballparks in North America. In their first decade as owners, the Seas won 4 Northwest League championships while setting 10 club attendance records and receiving the John H. Johnson President's Award for top organization in minor league baseball. They negotiated the affiliation with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2011, which remains in place to this day, and launched the Vancouver Canadians Foundation, which fundraises for underprivileged children, and Vancouver Canadians Baseball League, allowing thousands of young children playing baseball at Nat Bailey Stadium each summer. Please join me in congratulating Jake Kerr and Jeff Mooney on their selection for the induction in the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the W.A.C. Bennett Award category.
Now we move on to the athlete category, where we start on the gridiron. Our first inductee has one of the most impressive and longest careers by a Canadian-born player in NFL history. He played 14 NFL seasons as a kicker punter with 11 different teams, most notably the Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints, and Pittsburgh Steelers, winning a Super Bowl title with the Steelers. He was twice named to the NFL Pro Bowl and twice selected as an All-Pro. Please join me in congratulating Mitch Berger on his selection for induction to this BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category in the sport of football.
Next up, our second athlete is one of Canada's greatest wheelchair basketball players of all time. He is a 3-time Paralympic medalist, helping Canada gold in 2000, 2004, and a silver in 2008, while representing Canada at 4 Paralympic Games. In World Championships play, he helped Canada to the 2006 World title and World bronze medals in 1998 and 2002. He is a member of the Canadian men's national team wheelchair basketball team for over 15 years, serving as the team's co-captain for much of that time. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Jaimie Borisoff on his selection to induction in the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for wheelchair basketball. Congrats, Jaimie.
Our third athlete has had a massive impact on the sport of tennis. She was one of Canada's top tennis players of the 1960s, winning tournament championships all over North America and Europe, and playing in tournaments on 4 continents. She ranked as Canada's top women's singles player 3 times, including in 1961 when she competed at Wimbledon. She was a 6-time BC Open singles champion and also never lost a BC Hardcourt Women's Open Championships at Stanley Park, winning the tournament 8 times. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Susan Butt on her selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category in the sport of tennis.
Our fourth athlete on today's docket is one of BC's all-time stars on the diamond. She's a member of Canada's national women's softball team from 1986 to 1990, helping Canada to a fourth-place finish at the 1986 ISF World Series in New Zealand, where she was named to the all-world team. She was named an All-Star at shortstop at numerous international tournaments, including the World Challenge Cup in 1985, 86, and 87. In the latter, she was also named top batter. She was also a six-time Canadian championship, winning 5 national titles with Vancouver Alpha Sports and 1 with White Rock Renegades. Please join me in congratulating Marianne Walz on her selection for induction in the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for softball. And her brother is here to accept.
Next up, we hit the slopes to honor an Olympic gold medalist. She is one of Canada's most decorated freestyle skiers of all time. She represented Canada in ski cross at 3 Winter Olympics, winning gold in 2018 in Pyeongchang and silver in 2014 in Sochi. She currently stands as one of only 2 ski cross athletes in the world to win multiple Olympic medals, the other being fellow Sports Hall of Fame member Marielle Thompson. The 2011 world champion in ski cross, she also won 3 Winter Cross Games medals in her career, gold in 2011 and 2016, as well as bronze in 2010. Please join me in congratulating Kelsey Serwa on her selection for induction to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for ski cross.
Congrats. A little bit of musical chairs here. Our last, but certainly not the least, class of 2023 honoree was a staple of the Vancouver Canucks blue line for his entire 10-year season NHL career. One of the top defensemen in Canucks history, he remains tied for third all-time in scoring for Vancouver defensemen after his club record stood unbroken for nearly 30 years. His club record of 55 assists by defensemen in the 76-77 season was only broken by Quinn Hughes just last season after standing for 45 years. He is a 2-time winner of the Bay Pratt Trophy as the Canucks' top defenseman and twice representing Canada at the IIHF World Hockey Championships, helping Canada to win a bronze in 1978. Please join me in congratulating Dennis Kearns on his selection for the induction to the BC Hall of Fame in the category of ice hockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome the BC Sports Hall of Fame's class of 2023. Thank you. Thank you for your effort, sacrifice, and dedication to your sport, and for continuing to inspire current and future generations of British Columbians. We are so pleased to meet you, and please trust that everyone here at the BC Sports Hall of Fame will take great pride in preserving your sporting story, not just to commemorate your important contributions to the sport history of our province, but to inspire the next generation of Hall of Famers. Congratulations to you all, the class of 2023. And to close out today's announcement day, please welcome the Chair of the Board of Trustees of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, Tom Mayanyak.
Once is not enough. Let's hear it again for the class of 2023. And also, let's hear it for your co-MCs today, Lori Fung and Richard Peter. Grace, elegance, and steel. That's what defined Lori Fung in those remarkable Olympic Games in which she did for rhythmic gymnastics what no one else had been able to do before her. And Richard Peter, whenever I think of Richard Peter, I think of power. Power of spirit, power of mind, power of personality. That's why he's meant so much to the BC sports system over the years. So once again, Lori Fung and Richard Peter. One of the favorite things that I get to do as chair of the BC Sports Hall of Fame is reach out and notify the candidates who've been selected for induction. And I got to tell you, some of the most special phone calls that I've ever had in my life have happened over the last few years in that category. I want to repeat what we said by phone, and in the case of Kelsey Serwa, by FaceTime with her mom and dad, which was very, very cool, that you are what the BC Sports Hall of Fame is. You are the past in terms of highlights and accomplishment, but you're so much the future in terms of inspiring the next generation of British Columbians and Canadians to do something special, to take it to the next level. I can't tell you how many people have made this class possible. One of the things that we wanted to leave with you is how every story has a story behind it. And that's so true of the stories that are told around those who are inducted into the BC Sports Hall of Fame here at BC Place. It's not just the inductee, but as Wendy Patton, our vice chair of the hall, our chair of selection committee, and also CEO of Canadian Sport Institute Pacific, as she knows better than anybody in the room, there's always a team behind the team. There's families behind each and every one of you that have helped you in good times and bad times. Those are stories, those 5 a.m. wake-up calls for practice and training. Some of you feel that that's good, it's in the past tense, and you're not having to do that anymore. There are sponsors who sometimes happen at exactly the right time, and they've got a story because they contributed to your story. So today, we're going to ask you to take this away from the BC Sports Hall of Fame. The fact that there are so many stories behind these stories, and don't sell yourself short. So many of you here in this room have in your own way contributed to sport history, sport culture, sport heritage in British Columbia. Without your support, without your constant engagement, without your I give an expletive deleted about sport because I really believe in it, without those of you in the room, like Bernie Pascal as an example, who is an honored member in the media category, but is also a nominator. The nominators in the room, thank you so much for what you do, because without your recognition of these special people, they don't happen, or at least the storytelling, the deserved storytelling around them does not happen. So please join me in thanking all of the nominators who are here with us today, who have nominated the members of the class of 2023. And thank you for all of you as stories behind the stories for being here today. We just wanted to close out with a couple of thank yous before we do a team photograph, and would ask the class of 2023 to stay here. We'll not only have a photograph taken, but we also have somebody from the Emily Carr Institute who's going to do a painting. It's only going to take about 6 or 7 hours. but if you guys can just stay put, we'll have lunch and dinner brought in. And if necessary, we have bunk beds here at the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Wanted to thank those who make today possible. BC Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, Chair Bill McLagan, we so appreciate your support. The Search and Rescue Marketing Group of Jared Harmon, PAVCO and BC Place, stellar partners of ours. We're very proud to be here at BC Place telling the stories of the class of 2023 and all the classes who've come before it. We want to also acknowledge Via Sport British Columbia for their support, their very meaningful support of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. We also want to acknowledge a very dynamic conversation that's happening right now in the marketplace that we're proud to be part of, and that is about 2030 and engagement in a potential games that will be unlike any others ever held anywhere in the world. We want to thank the 4 host nations, Lilwat, Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, for their ongoing persistence in not only being great storytellers themselves, but in possibly bringing the Olympic story back to Vancouver in 2030. Want to acknowledge our management team. We as a Board of Trustees would have nothing without the day in, day out determination of our management team, our staff, including our Chief Executive, Nicholas Cartmel, our Curator, Jason Beck, and the entire team that love what the BC Sports Hall stands for. Also want to acknowledge, just very quickly, 2 former executive directors and leaders of the operations of the hall who are with us here today. First of all, Allison Mailer is with us here. And we also have Sue Griffin. We mentioned Hero in You at the beginning. Wendy Patman mentioned Hero in You at the beginning, and of course it's a cause that we care so much about. But we also care about In Her Footsteps and that initiative. And that's why we're so happy to see not only Debbie Pine, but also Sue Griffin being recognized in the gallery here at the BC Sports Hall of Fame, In Her Footsteps. Again, another story behind other stories, inspiring people to be the best that they can be, regardless of gender, regardless of culture, regardless of language. Congratulations, Sue Griffin. Want to thank the Board of Trustees for their ongoing support in the governance of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. We have a few trustees. You've already met Wendy Pattenden, Stan Wong, Joni McMaster, and Scott Ackles, all with us here today. Thank you, trustees. Also want to thank the Council of Chairs, all the former trustees who continue to give their wisdom to all of us here at the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Dan Conkin could not make it today, but he sends his regards and his congratulations to the class of 2023. We have Al Tynan with us here today, former chair of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Al, thanks for all your contributions. He is also with the BC Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, is going to be leading a new planned giving initiative. While the painting is happening here, all of you prepared to make your commitments to the planned giving of the BC Sports Hall and the Foundation will be meeting over here, and there will be sandwiches and cookies served as well. With that being said, all of you who've been mentioned, and all of you are here, please keep on caring about the BC Sports Hall of Fame, about what these amazing stories do to make us that much better. The last thought that we have is, and this applies to all of our inductees. I'm going to make a special mention of our W.A.C. Bennett winners, Jake Kerr and Jeff Mooney, because like all of the others, it's not just what they've done throughout their careers, but it's how they've done it. With class, with community at heart, with collaboration, with teamwork. By doing what they've done for the community, they set standards for everybody else in terms of how we do business as British Columbians when it comes to sport. So congratulations to our W.A.C. Bennett Award winners, Jake Kerr and Jeff Mooney, and congratulations again to this remarkable class of 2023 that we will be celebrating June 1st, 2023, with full details to come. That's the third table. We have credit cards for the induction gala. You can go just around the corner. We're going to have the photograph taken on behalf of Wendy Patton and the selection committee, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and on behalf of Nicholas Cartmel, Jason Beck, and our management team. Thank you so much for being here. Stay, tell stories, share stories, because that's what we're all about, and that's what the class of 2023 is all about. OCM CI.